We're waiting.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Anime Eazy-E channel. My name is, of course, Anime Eazy-E, and you know me. That kind of slaps a little bit, but anyway, this is the first official gameplay of Chaos Child. Now, I never played this game before, and I'm interested of how things play out. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. November 6, 2009 AD, 10:28 PM. It came out without warning. It was a magnitude 7.8 earthquake with an epicenter directly under the city. The disaster reduced one of Tokyo's busiest downtown areas to nothing in a single night. The high-rise buildings that had birthed so many trends and fate collapsed, as if given up on their role in society. Black fire spread through the city, as individuals fell into the grip of crowds psychologically. Their terror was magnified. Combined, all of these things took many lives. The final death toll was 3,851. The final number of injured, 30,927. God damn. This event was later known as the Shibuya earthquake. Even all that destruction, people still suffered the most in their hearts. Some who had lost their families came together to share new resolve, while others who'd been forced to watch their friends die were driven by guilt to take their own lives. As a baby was miraculously reunited with his parents after 72 hours, a child in the evacuation shelter asked her dad, "When's mommy coming home?" He had no answer. Some of the wounded made it to the hospitals by looking at real-time updates of the web. Others saw people on the internet talk about the disaster as if it were a movie and were driven mad. A homeless man was saved from malnutrition by an organized volunteer group, but at the same time, a middle school boy punched a self-centered volunteer who come to Shibuya to find himself in the face. It was the first time in that boy's life he ever been violent. God dog. The psychological toll was incredible, and many of the survivors will later manifest systems similar to those associated with PTSD. The young were hit the hardest, and before long, the cause of those symptoms was given a name: Chaos Child Syndrome. Rebuilding, however, at a feverish pitch never seen before. It felt inappropriate to say, "Hang in there," but people felt that somebody had to do something. You gotta go out there and do it. The new slogan was Shibuya, a city reborn, and no amount of money or manpower was spared in aiding the invader. The whole town was in a grip of fever. In private, a leader of the redevelopment effort said, "This may sound unlikely, but the frenzy feels like a town bearing its grief by holding a festival." Building codes were rigorously evaluated with an eye towards earthquake engineering, perhaps in an effort to emphasize the city's safety. Security cameras were put all over town. Shibuya would become a place where everyone could live in peace. But at the same time, a rumor began to spread about the earthquake. Wait, what? Something about this earthquake doesn't make sense. Talk about it. Talk to me. There was no aftershocks, and the damage had spread in a strange way. Talk about it. Talk about it. Oh crap! I'm going to butcher this so bad. Harajuku and Ibusu, areas only a kilometer away from Shibuya, suffered few casualties and even fewer collapsed buildings. This damage pattern had never been observed in any prior earthquake, and so more than a few pundits claimed that Shibuya earthquake must have been artificial. The fuck? Wait, what? More than anything, some of the survivors all said the same thing. We need more info on that. I saw a white light. Okay. I heard a sound like a ringing in my ears. Too many people experienced this for anyone to laugh it off, but no one of those phenomenon was ever found. It was just more evidence to those who believed something about the earthquake had been wrong. Show me the proof. Talk about it. Talk about it. Then 6 years after the strange earthquake in 2015. Man, that was like, what, 6 years ago? Explain. Something else was about to attract attention in the reborn city of Shibuya. Talk about it. Talk to me. Talk to me. I want to know too. We all want to know. Look, I have this full volume on my headphones, and that was not a pleasant experience. Let me tell you that. It sucked ass. September 7th, 2015, Sunday night.
はい。ではいつも通り3分くらい募集をかけるんで、適当によろです。
The second he spoke, the comment box started to fill. Yuma Otani watched it as a few seconds and then saw the request. When does Haru tell us when she's dating somebody? He smiled to himself. Why you wanna know? He trying to get some. Just what he wanted. What you wanna know? Talk to me, I wanna know. Crap, I can't talk today. Most of the requests were about hot actors and cute idols. His audience was so stupid that it was easy to tell exactly what they were going to ask. The problem was always whether the name that came up was someone he knew. That was a question of luck and of how popular they were. I cannot talk today. Fuck. But Haru, her full name was Haruko something or other. She was fine. I bet she was. The way he talking about her. You know what I mean? Just a few days ago, he forced himself to go to an event he'd rather skip and seen it for himself.
Yes.
Satisfied, Otani got up and to get some snacks like he always did. He lived in a one-bedroom condo located 8 minutes from Shibuya Station. Cost 150,000 yen per month. It had been built after the earthquake, so the furnishing and layout were modern. A little more room would have been nice, but compared to the 40,000 yen per month place he lived last year, it was heaven. Amen to that. I need probably figure out the equivalent to US dollars, but that's probably a steal, a deal. Amen. Hallelujah.
来年にはもうちょっと便利なところに引っ越すか。
At 21 years old, Otani felt satisfied for the first time in his life. In 4th grade, he got big into online gaming and stopped going to school. Eventually, he stopped leaving his room altogether. Then he got addicted to drugs that made him sleepy, but did nothing else. Once seeing only darkness in his future, he planned to commit suicide. In the chaos after the earthquake 6 years ago, he finally managed to leave his room, but his family had already given up on him. After he failed his entrance exams, he went to live on his own in Shibuya, and he hadn't spoken to his parents since. As far as they knew, he failed the exams 3 times in a row. In fact, he hadn't even gone to the test after the first time. There wasn't anything he wanted to learn in college, or any companies he wanted to work for badly enough. Come on, you gotta make that bread somehow. You feel me? You gotta get that bread. You know, make that dough. You know, gotta stack that paper. You feel me? Gotta, you know, stack it up. He had no goal in life at all. But things were different now. Talk about it.
アットちゃんにもたまには本当のことが書かれてるもんだ。チーズでいいか。
Bro, why some cheese? Like, okay. He took a block of cheap cheese he brought at the supermarket out of the fridge. Usually he never ate anything this cheap. Talk about it. But at the Nikonia live streaming, it wasn't just what you said. How you look when you said it also mattered. Okay? Otani wasn't a good-looking man, let alone a cute girl. He was just a plain old guy, and so to keep his program popular, he needed to make them think that he was poor, barely managing to scrape by, in fact. That's why he kept the door around his PC and the parts of the apartment that you could see with his webcam completely plain. Last month, he finally reached his goal of 4,000 viewers. Okay, congrats, okay, we see you, alright. For a man with nothing going for him like Otani, this was extremely unusual. 3 months ago, he guessed the winners of the popularity contest a certain idol group was holding, as well as their total number of votes. That must have really paid off. After that, his numbers have been growing steadily. Late last month, when his streams had appeared at the top of Nico's page, he had seen a huge increase. Talk about it, we want to know. Right now, he got above 4,500, and it was quite possible he'd break 5,000 by the end of the month. Okay, clap it up. Okay, he on his grind. We see you, bro. We see you, bro. We see you. It was around late last year when he started to wonder about his power. Talk about it. There was a certain rumor on one of 8chan's occult boards that made him really start to realize what he had. The name he had chosen for his stream steadily reflected this. Then I learned that I can see the future.
You what?
Okay. He took out a knife to cut the cheese. Okay. There was a strange sound.
Huh?
Right, I'm a huh? He thought he was just imagining it when. Knock, 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 knock. He heard it again. It was coming from the door.
Are you deaf as you are thick?
Oh no shit, Sherlock. Someone was clearly knocking on his door.
Huh? Mitsurin ka?
Suspicious, he walked towards the door to answer, then checked the clock. It was 11:41 p.m.
Why?
Bro, let someone knock on my door at 11:40 at night. It better be important. I swear to God, their house better be on fire. You need a trip to the hospital, or they're dying. Other than that, I'm not answering for jack shit. Not exactly normal delivery hours. Exactly.
なんだよ。つか、生放送中だっつうの。
He turned to ignore it, but
FBI, open up!
oh my God. The knocking continued in the same rhythm at the same pace, as if the visitor's goal wasn't to come inside, but simply to make that sound. They're wasting their time. They're wasting their damn time. Otami felt a bit creeped out. He decided to go to the intercom camera to see who it was, but then realized that it would be pointless. Only the auto-locking door on the first floor had a camera. The door to Otani's room on the 5th floor had an intercom but no camera. Otani gave up.
くそ。つが、用ならインターホン押せよ。
Oh my God, they will not stop knocking.
酔っ払いか？
Probably, I wouldn't be surprised. No, the knocks were too steady for that. And there was no voice yelling at him to open up. He's seen the door a million times, but suddenly it looked somehow different. What? Somehow he didn't know was on the other side of the wall, the main entry in the middle of the night. Somehow this made the door seem imitating. Otani thought he might look through the peephole to see who was outside. He was then disgusted to find himself too scared to even get close to the door. Wait, the intercom didn't have a camera, but it did have a microphone. He turned towards the I can't fucking talk. He turned towards the living room so he could use the intercom and find out what they wanted. Otani, it's me. Sorry to come by so suddenly. Who's talking? He stopped when he heard that voice. It's me. I'm very sorry to bother you at this hour. Well, no shit. It's like 11:30 at night. What you talking about? Otani tried to remember who the speaker was, but found he couldn't. But from the tone of the voice and the words, they probably weren't a weirdo. When they said, I'm sorry, it sounded like they really meant it. Otani slightly soft with relief, and then he realized he was still carrying the knife he had been cutting the cheese. Better carry that bitch with you. It suddenly felt stupid to him, so nervous. He quickly laid the knife on the top of the sink. Bruh, take that shit with you. You never know. You just never know.
はいはい。今開けます。どちら様ですか?
Right, we want to know too.
Nope.
It's me. Don't you remember?
It was nice to meet you. Now go away. Yes.
No, the fuck I don't. But who are you? Otani whispered to himself as he opened the door. Otani narrowed his eyebrows at the people standing there. He looked them up and down and looked at their faces again. Their eyes met.
あんたら、どこのどなた?
Otani suddenly felt a piercing headache.
I don't like where this is going.
Yuck. Otani closed his eyes and put his right hand to his temple. You better take some Robitussin or some Adderall or something.
Nope.
Jesus. He could feel the blood pounding in his veins through his fingers. He staggered and quickly put his other hand against the wall to keep from falling over. The pain was like the old days when he overdosed on antidepressants, but much more intense. He grit his teeth again with the pain and dug his nails into the wall that was holding him up, as he waited for the pain in his fingers to help dull the pain in his mind. Mr. Otani, are you okay? He heard a voice he heard many times before and felt a concerned hand on his shoulder. He somehow managed to ignore the pain and open his eyes. A worried face was peering down at him.
大丈夫。最近たまにあるんだ。
Overwork, perhaps? You've probably been so busy lately. You shouldn't push yourself too hard.
相変わらず心配性だな、お前は。大丈夫だよ。さあ、入ってくれ。
He opened his mouth as wide as he could and moaned, trying to seize the pain as he let his important guest inside. As he turned his back on his guest, he told himself that it could have been a long time since he'd seen them, or maybe not. It could have been more than 2 months since they last met. It only felt long because he wanted to see them so badly.
そうだ。せっかく来てもらったのにすまん。生放送中なんだよ。
While he was out there, he decided he would cut some cheese for himself and his guests. Oh, don't worry about us.
いや、お前ら相手にそういうわけにもいかないだろう。ん？
Like, shut up. What's wrong?
いや、なんでもない。
The blade wasn't cutting into the cheese. That's strange, he told himself as he pushed down with more force. He cut into its surface and made an unpleasant sound he never heard before, but no matter how hard he pushed, it wouldn't go further. Confused, he yanked the knife back and forth like a saw, but it only cut in slightly deeper. It was as if there was something hard inside the cheese. And even though he only just taken it out of the fridge, it was slightly warm.
くそ、なんだよこれ。
Irritated, he slammed the handle on the knife against the cheese. But all it did was bash it in a little. He couldn't cut through it.
ふざけんなよ。
I'll help you. His guests must have heard the sound because they rushed over. They had another knife. When did they get that out? Watch it. There's a trick to cutting this thing. Yuck. Just yuck. They put the knife up against the cheese and began to move it with a paced hand. It sounds like your work is going well. They smiled at Otani, their voices slightly low. Otani realized that they were trying to keep their voices from being picked up by the streaming microphone and lowered his voice as well. He grinned and nodded. His guests had introduced him to a firm that handled advertising space for popular websites, which had been giving him regular work. His reputation had quietly spread throughout the small web advertising industry, and soon he was getting more and more offers.
流行を予想することが肝なこの仕事は天職だよ。出来レースみたいなもんだ。
Then why do these streams? Yeah.
一言では言いづらいな。強いて言えば、自分がどこまでいけるか試したいみたいな感じなんだけど。
That's right. His power wasn't meant to be wasted on jobs that anyone could do.
誰も経験したことないから、誰かに聞くってわけにいかないだろ。だから自分でやれるだけやってみたいっつうか。ってかっこよすぎか、これは。
Yes, but actually no.
I guess we're flex, but whatever. No, it's wonderful, I think. And done. After he smacked it a few times, the cheese was a little funny looking, but the even slices were lined up neatly on the plate.
悪いな、働かせて。
It's nothing. Go on. I'll wait till your stream is finished.
ああ、冷蔵庫の中適当に見繕ってくれていいから。ああ、静かにな。
Otani took his cheese back to his seat and saw a flood of comments reading, "He's late and did he log off?" What should have been only been 3 minutes had turned to more than 15. Otani put a bite of cheese in his mouth and began to chew loudly.
申し訳ない。この安売りセールしていたチーズがありえないくらい硬くて。
Don't you ever make that noise again. Yuck. He apologized to the camera and remembered to keep up the act of being poor and starving. And as he hoped, the comments started to come in. Got caught in 4K. 4K. This is Ultra HD 4K. He got caught in. No cap. He got caught in 4K. Otani's face took on a confused expression. The comments were strange. He thought there might be something on the camera, but he turned around and saw Owen his fake poor room.
どうしました?
He spoke into the camera, but the comments still didn't make any sense, and they were coming in faster. Maybe there was a problem with the camera. He reached his right hand out towards it. In an instant, his headache was back. I'm telling you, dude, if you take some Robitussin, some Tylenol, anything, that will help that shit out. Trust me. It was the same pain as before. No, worse. He closed his eyes and jerked forward, banging his head against the desk. But the pain in his head was so bad that he didn't even feel it. He tried to hold his head in his hands, but for some reason, his right hand wouldn't move. So instead, he pushed his other hand up against his temple. It felt squishy. The vein was incredibly swollen, and it felt like rubber. And each time he felt his blood pulse through it, there was an unpleasant sensation in his fingers. He stamped his feet against the floor, hoping to find some small escape from the pain. But it didn't even get slightly better. It was then that he realized he was crying. He could feel the tears coming from his eyes. The pain was moving there now too. Unable to bear it, he opened his eyes. What is it? What is it? The fuck? He gasped. The whole scene appeared in front of him like some awful magic trick. What the fuck? We want to know too. He suddenly heard the sound of something wet dripping onto the floor. His eyes reflectively turned towards it. His right arm was gone at the elbow, and the stump was gushing blood. There was a pool of it on the floor, and the sound he heard was the new blood splattering into it.
Huh?
Otani didn't understand what had happened to him. What was going on? Yeah, I don't know either. What's going on? He just gone to check on a knock at the door. The pain screamed within him. Any sense of pain and what reminded of his right arm was overcome by the pain in his hand. He felt nothing from his arm at all, though he saw the blood dripping to the floor. What the hell was going on? He blinked and forced his aching eyes to function as he looked around the room. On top of his desk, he found the rest of his arm. It was sitting on a plate. At first, it looked like it was still in one piece, but it wasn't. It was neatly sliced into uniform pieces. Each piece was about a centimeter wide, and the slice moved neatly towards his fingers. They sat upon the plate in roughly his arm original size. Miraculously, he saw there was no blood at the tip of his index finger. He still didn't understand what was really his own arm, but sheer disgust at what he saw caused him to leap out of his chair. What was this? What kind of prank was this? Bro, that is not no damn prank. What the fuck? The contents of his stomach flooded into his mouth. He vomited. The pink fluid splashed against the desk. He saw something solid in the middle of it. It was a thumb. It was covered in bite marks, saliva, and stomach acid, but horribly he remembered it. Ew. What? When did he put that in his mouth? Pause, mega pause on that. You gotta say pause after that. In his pain-filled mind, he suddenly heard a sound he never heard before. Each time he heard the sound, the pain in his head got worse. He turned towards the camera, hoping for an answer to what was happening. But of course, there was none of to be found. The screen was still filling with comments, but his eyes were too filled with tears for him to read them. As the whole world turned red, Otani didn't even realize that his lips were turning purple. His lips had turned purple from the lack of oxygen, but were stained red with blood from his severed thumb, which he had chewed himself. As he tried to fight the pain, he began to fall unconscious, and tears fell from his eyes. The tears seemed pink to him. Otani was weeping blood. He died, still facing the camera.
It was time for Thomas to leave. He had seen everything.
His guests watched the chain of events unfold, then slightly headed for the door. Just before they left the room. Goodbye. Oh, so you're not going to dial 911 for a brother? Okay. They said as if nothing was wrong and shut the door. Bruh, so we just gonna act like nothing happened?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I got you.
3 hours later.
Can you move it along? I'm all out of time cards.
September 19th, 2015, Friday night. Shit, it's Friday night, you feel me? Kick it, relax it, the weekend's coming. Once again, I'm going to butcher the fuck out of this, and I'm not going to even attempt to try this. So, for now on, we're just going to call her Momo. How about that? Just Momo. Momo had finished her concert. Like always, she stayed behind to help put away the instruments. She even helped clean up the audience seats, even though that was the concert hall's job. Only after all of that was done could she take a break. There wasn't much time left before her solo street concert, but she still had to help anyway. She always been like that. Even if it wasn't her responsibility, she couldn't help but to get involved. It was like in middle school when one of her friends who wasn't as good at studying asked her for test notes. Or in high school when a girl she knew asked her how to make Valentine's chocolate for a boy she really liked. She stayed up so many nights her own test grades were worse than her friends, and she didn't even have anyone to give chocolates to on Valentine's Day. Shit, get them hoes to me, get them chocolates to me. I'm not a sweets person, but shit, just give them to me. In the end, it was the other person's responsibility, not hers, but... Momo was at heart, scared of not doing everything she could, even if everything wasn't her responsibility. The concert today was another big success. Sure, it was a tiny room that could only fit 150 people or so, standing room only, but tickets were 3,000 yen, high for a band with an amateur vocalist like her, and they still sold out intensely. Fuck, I just can't. Anyway, it was bizarre how excited that the crowd was. She heard sobs during the ballad, and during one of the high tempo songs, the audience had stood up all the way to the back row. She felt a chill and hugged herself tightly. It was not her band wasn't popular. They started out in Nico's sang out category and had kept it going by doing covers of popular anime songs.
You think anime's just for nerds?
Well, duh.
Anime is an important part of our culture!
Aw, look at him tremble. He's gonna burst a blood vessel because I dissed his waifus.
Turn up, let's get it. It helped that her face, which had earned her the nickname Scarecrow in school, could look really good when she wore makeup. And if all of them put ridiculous costumes and acted like idiots, some people would enjoy that. Videos of their concerts and performances pulled a decent number of views online. Okay. But Momo noticed. The vast majority of people looking at the videos were people who come to her concerts. People who experienced that insane intensity were going back to the videos to try to feel it again. And Momo knew that they probably wouldn't even feel 1% of it. The ticket prices and audience size were one thing, but the strangest thing to her was their eyes. Their eyes pierced right through her, unblinkingly. They were like pets, totally dependent on their master. The meaning of their lyrics began to take over their lives, and they would never even question it. When she first realized that there was happening, she tried to quit the band. Even if she couldn't, she at least wanted to stop doing the live shows where people heard her directly. But the others around her wouldn't let that happen. "Your voice is so amazing," they would tell her. They forced her to keep singing even as the concerts began to terrify her. Momo tried to get out of it, but in the end she kept giving in. She owned her fellow band members for getting a plain dull girl like her into music. And for a while part of her managed to have fun. But in the end, Momo lacked the tiny bit of courage needed to break out the cycle. She forced herself to get up and head towards the street concert, which she didn't really want to do. She received an email. She read it slowly. She almost dropped her smartphone. She read it again and again, trying to control her shaking hands. It was nothing special, just a simple message about one of the songs she made. "Good song, keep it up." Momo tried to stop the tears, but couldn't. The band wouldn't get too many messages like this to count, especially after concerts. She knew it was rude, but to be honest, she was sick of them. But this email address wasn't for her band. It was one of the sites where she had anonymously uploaded original songs. In other words, whoever sent this message hadn't come to her concerts. They never heard her voice live or felt its strange power, but they still said they like her song. Wiping away tears that wouldn't stop, she quickly wrote a response. "That makes me really happy. Thank you." Even after she sent it, she kept crying for a while. She hadn't cried this much since the earthquake. And then she stood up. She took out her costumes for the day's concert out of her bag, balled them up, and threw them in the trash. It was a white cape outfit worn by some angel character in some anime. Certain fans really loved it, but she didn't care about it at all. She took a wet towel off a nearby table and violently wiped away her makeup. She was never wearing another cape or putting on makeup to look like an anime character again. Never, she said out loud. She realized she was more excited than she ever been before. And then she started to realize what she wanted to do. What would happen if she said she was going to quit the band? It caused trouble for a lot of people, definitely. Her band was scheduled to play in the Restoration Festival. But even so, she never wanted to sing at another concert. She laughed and kissed her smartphone. She couldn't wait to get home and start fiddling with her music. Over the web, she could really share her music with others. As long as they weren't hearing her voice live, it would be fine. If she just played a recording from a speaker, for example. That's right. She's Lisa Bia, and when she found a few more songs, she could record them and play them at a street concert. The speaker was small enough that she could fit under her clothes to fool people. It would be rude to do the same song every time, so each time she re-recorded it at home. God damn it, I cannot fucking talk today. Ugh.
Hell no, to the no, no, no. Hell to the no, hell to the no, to the no, no, no. Hell no, no, to the no, no. Hell to the no, no.
Oh my god. There was a knock at the door. One of the staffers, maybe? She smiled and answered them. Now that she'd thrown away her clothes, her bag was lighter than she ever imagined it could be. The lightness made her think about the future. She was happy.
Hi.
Momo happily danced towards the door, completely ignorant of what was on the other side. September 19th, 2015, Friday night. Shortly after she finished, she was walking through Shibuya. She had limped and dragged one leg behind her, as if it was injured. Her bangs were unnaturally long, most of her face was covered by them. She wore a dark colored dress that seemed to melt into the night, and above it, a bright red cardigan. Her chest, arms, and legs were almost completely covered. Despite the fact that the night was still warm, she wore gloves